Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Build a Castle. Let's get started. Alright, so first episode, we started on the first tower and worked out kind of the theme of our castle with, playing around with how the tower is going to look. And we're going to try to match the look of this tower with the rest of the build, with the rest of the castle. Let's just get that snow out of the way. Alright, so this episode, we're going to kind of leave that castle, or that tower there for a second, for a little bit. We're going to work on our first building, because we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves on that tower. So we're going to lay the foundation for our first actual building of the castle. And that's what I'm doing here. I wanted this wall to kind of be rounded at the side. So I kind of used the same technique you use for building circles to make that kind of rounded corner. And then right here I got the idea that, it would be kind of cool if a tower overlooked this little bay, this little water area. So I'm integrating a tower into the building we're creating. So I'm just laying out the foundation for this tower now. It's going to be a small one, just 9 long, which is kind of the same size of the base of the other tower we built. As you can see, I'm using the same technique I used last episode to build the circle. And if you have trouble doing that, you can go online and just Google search Minecraft circles, and it'll come up with how to do them. So now I'm just continuing on the foundation of the building. You can see how the tower is kind of integrated into the side of the building. And then I thought, why not? So I'm building another bigger tower on this side of the building. There's going to be tons of towers in this castle. It's going to kind of look like the Harry Potter castle, where there's just towers coming up from everywhere. So this is a lot bigger castle. I think it's 13 thick. So it's a little more challenging to make. Unless you get to the really big circles, most of them are fairly similar. So this one is fairly similar, but it's a little more complicated. This tree was my gosh, you'll see, but this tree was just getting in the way this whole time. And I thought I knocked it down there, but apparently I missed a couple pieces of wood, as you'll see later. So the way this circle works is it has 2 coming off from the side, and then it has a single one like that. Whereas the other one just had the 2 single blocks kind of diagonal of each other. Once you do a lot of these circles, though, it becomes pretty easy to memorize how to do them. So now I'm just integrating the wall of the building into that circle, and now you can kind of see our foundation. I'm just going to get rid of these unneeded blocks here and move that piece down with the rest of the foundation. And now I'm going to fix up this area because it looks absolutely horrible. If you watched the last episode, you'll know that when I was transforming some of because this whole area was sand, and when I was transforming it into grass, a lot of it caved in, since, sand actually has gravity in this game. So I'll just hide that, and now I'm transforming the rest of the sand into grass, so it kind of doesn't look so awkward. And I'll just continue filling in this hole. I don't bother actually filling in the hole legitly. I just kind of cover it up. which will probably bite me in the butt later, but who cares? And now I start building up the walls for the building. And I'm gonna build the outside walls of the towers, but I'm not gonna worry about the inside walls yet. And that might not make sense right now, but as I keep building it, it will. It'll start to come together. The towers aren't going to actually take form until later on when the building gets higher. But for right now, towards the bottom and middle area of the building, it's just going to be part of the building, part of the walls. Sorry for this lag. My frame rate was horrible. I don't know why, but when I'm recording my screen, it makes it really hard to play Minecraft. My frame rate goes way down. And it's really awkward to build buildings on the side of hills like this, just because, you know, everything's a different height. But you just gotta, it looks so much nicer when you do it rather than putting it on flat land. And you just kind of gotta work with it until you get everything at the same height. So what I'm doing now is making sure the top layer of every brick is not this detailed brick, but it's rather regular brick. And then I go around and kind of just touch up the bottom, the foundation, make it look a little nicer. But I don't want that top layer to have any detailed brick, which is why I paused for a second there. Alright, now you can kind of see the actual foundation, what the building's going to be shaped like now. I'm just going to continue to build up. First I'm going to add this layer of detailed brick. If you saw last episode, you know that I like to make my buildings have a lot of depth, and to do that you need to integrate a bunch of different materials and make the building kind of get wider and skinnier at certain points. And anytime I do that, I lay down a layer of these detailed bricks to kind of signify or indicate that I'm switching onto a new layer. So that's what I'm doing now. So now I'm going to lay down a layer of wood. My general rule of thumb is you don't want one layer of a building to go more than, I usually change it about every 4 to 6 bricks high, but you don't want to really go more than 8. You want to keep switching it up, otherwise it'll start looking really boring. It's a lot more work to do it this way, but it turns out in the end to look a lot better. And then I decided I want to actually make the building wider at this point, so I'm just going around and adding one layer around the whole building with a piece of wood. And once again, this tree is going to get in my way. Buildings seem to be a lot more tedious than towers do. I don't know why, because you're pretty much doing the same things, but maybe because buildings are so much bigger, I don't know, but it gets quite boring doing it. Which is another reason why you could switch up the materials and stuff, because it makes it more boring than just building a straight wall. Alright, and now I'm just going to build the walls up a little bit with wood. I apologize again for the lag here. You're not missing much, I promise. I'm just putting down a wall. And that kind of inlaid wood there that you can see on the left of where I'm building, that'll probably be where I'll put a floor. So that can be a good indicator of where I want the first floor to be. Or maybe I'll dig out a basement and that'll be the second floor, who knows. We'll worry about that later. So I'm almost done with the first layer of this wood. It's looking pretty nice. And I'm just going to go around and do another layer of that. So it'll be 4 high, which is where I like to switch it up. So this will probably be the last layer I build before I make some changes. And as you can see, I've acquired a couple pets inside my building. Good thing I'm not allergic to cats. They would be a mighty problem. But for now, they're just having some fun, so I'll let them be. Alright, and as I finish up this second layer of wall, I'll take a look back and see how it looks. And I realize that I kind of have that stone sticking out there, so I want to match it up with my building here, because I want the whole castle to kind of match up. And they're not at the same level, but it doesn't matter, because it'll still give the same appearance that they belong with each other. So I'm just going to go around with these detailed bricks and add 2 layers like this, as you see, which this was a pain in the butt to do, just because it's so awkward placing blocks and leaving a space in between them. And once again, this darn tree got in the way, so I just decided to cut the whole thing down. It actually, for a jungle tree, it wasn't all too big. So I was happy about that. It only had 1 or 2 branches, and so I'll just continue going around the building with these detailed bricks. I'll never use these detailed bricks stacked up on top of each other. At least I hope I never will. Because they only look good as detailed bricks. As their name implies. They don't look very good when you make an entire wall out of them. So you have to be careful when you're using them. But if you use them right, your buildings will look fantastic. So I'm almost finished with this finally. And I'll step back and take a look at it. Looks pretty good. But the reason I left that space there in the first place is because I want to add this fence layer. Not that it doesn't add that much since it's made of wood and the wall behind it's made of wood too, so you can't really see it all that much, but it just adds that little bit of depth. And those little details do make a difference. As you can see, this build's gonna take a while, because I'm gonna have, tons of towers, multiple buildings that are this size or bigger, and they're all gonna reach up into the skies, and they're all gonna have a ton of detail on the outside like this. So that's it for now. Um, Thanks for watching, guys.